Hello everyone, my name is Tyler, and today I'm going to show you how to implement camera controls in a tactical RPG. What this means is that we'll be able to move the camera with both keyboard and mouse input. Primarily we'll be looking at how to enable edge scrolling, which means that when we move our cursor to the edges of the screen, our camera will adjust accordingly. And by cursor, I do not mean our mouse cursor, I mean our cursor in the 2D scene. This is a continuation from my previous tutorials on how to make a tactics RPG, but it isn't required to watch them before this video. The primary requirement will be that you need to have GD Quest's Tactical RPG Movement Series project for Godot 4 installed. I'll put a link to that in the description, as well as a link to the GitHub repository where I have all the finished code from these videos. Okay, so very quickly before we implement our camera, we need to go to the Cursor.gd script. We need to scroll down to here. We need to click enter, and then we're going to do cell equal to grid dot calculate underscore grid underscore coordinates. We're going to have position. This single line allows for us to now determine the starting cell of our cursor in the 2D scene editor. And the reason we want this is because our cursor will always start at position 0, 0 without this line, which can disrupt our camera later on. So let's go back to our 2D scene. Let us click on our cursor and move them to be right on top of the bear. Let us also click the cat and set their move range to 8. Now we're going to want to set up our camera, and to do this we're going to open the cursor in the editor. We're going to click this plus sign up here. We're going to look up a camera 2D node. We're going to click create. We're going to make sure that this is enabled. We're going to go to position smoothing. We're going to enable this. And we're going to set this to 8. Okay, so the reason I choose 8 pixels for the speed of position smoothing is because I feel like this is what makes the camera feel smooth but still very snappy and responsive. You can adjust this value to your liking. I just recommend that you don't set it too high, else the camera will overshoot the adjustment and become unstable. Now, after that, we're going to want to go to the editor, and we're going to enable our draw drag margin, and then we're going to go to the drag tab, and we're going to enable horizontal and vertical. And now we're going to change our left and right margin to be 0.8 and our top and bottom margin to be of 0.65. The reason we're changing our margins to these values is because I have found that these are the closest values to having it to where you always see just about one cell ahead of where you move your cursor. You can adjust these values to your liking, but for the purposes of this video, we'll be using these ones. With our camera setup, we're going to want to edit our Cursor.gd script once again. And the reason for this is because we're going to be handling our camera through the script. Now at the very top of the script, we're going to want to add a variable called is_mouse. We're going to set it equal to false. Now, what this variable does is it's going to be used to check if the mouse is in use or if a different input device is in use. We're going to want to scroll down to between the ready function and the unhandled input function now, and we're going to add a process function, and we're going to use underscore delta instead of regular delta because we're not actually going to be calling it. And now we're going to want to do if is_mouse var grid underscore chords is equal to grid.calculate grid coordinates get underscore global mouse position if cell is not equal to grid underscore chords and then cell equal to grid underscore chords. See here? Okay, so the reason we use a process function is because we need to update our mouse position over time in order to get edge scrolling with the mouse. We use get underscore global mouse position because when the camera pans when we reach the drag margins, it will not update the event position like you could see here. It will only update the global mouse position. Lastly, the reason we structure our ifs like so is because we need to not constantly calculate and set the grid coordinates. Else we can run into error messages in the editor, conflicts when using the keyboard, and we could also possibly cause a slowdown when running the game normally. Let us go down to our unhandled input function now, and we're going to delete the inside of this if and change it to is_mouse equal to true. And then for the inside of each of these ifs, we're going to do is_mouse equal to false. What this does is enable or disable detecting our mouse with the process function. So that way we aren't constantly calculating where our mouse is, and it allows for us to have our mouse on the screen while still being able to have keyboard input at the same time. With our code complete, we can now run our game. And as you can see, we have edge scrolling with the mouse, up, down, left, and right. We have the ability to move with the keyboard while the mouse is still on screen as well. We can select a unit and move with the camera and be fine. We can even go further and move back. We also don't have to worry about going out of bounds, because since the cursor is clamped to the grid, it won't go to cells that don't exist even if there are tiles placed. That's the reason I put these flowers kind of on the edges, is to kind of just display that this is the bounds. You could put whatever that you want on that edge, say like with in Wargroove, where they have those areas kind of have a little cool like animation playing to show that like this is kind of the void. That's one thing that you could also do. But with that, that's how you implement camera controls into a tactics RPG. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for mechanics that you'd like for me to present, please do tell me in the comments. Do check out the GitHub, where I post these finished products or projects, and please do give it a star. That would help me greatly. So yeah, thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.